Hello, welcome to the Nerdy Folks Podcast, a conversation about the nerdy things we love and the things that matter most. My name is Matthew Seipel-Anderson.
I am Katie Seipel-Anderson.
We are the hosts of the Nerdy Folks Podcast. We love this community, and we're glad you're with us today. Today in the show, we're talking about how villains make heroes. We'll also be sharing some movie news and sharing a little secret info about upcoming things on the show. It has felt like the science fiction, fantasy, Marvel comic book world has been in a bit of a slump lately. And the bombs have been dominating the news headlines. But I think that's changing. It feels like there's some fresh excitement out there. Dune 2 has released to really positive reviews. And it's making lots of money, which is good news for the business. And it seems like there are a lot of other things just on the horizon about to be released that people are actually getting excited for.
The writer's strike is officially over.
Ha! We can write again.
It seems like there's some cartoons coming up or animation that people are actually kind of excited for.
Yes. In fact, that's the first thing on the list is X-Men 97. Which is a new series being added to an X-Men cartoon from the 90s. And that's actually coming out just in a few weeks on March 20th.
So if you were an X-Men fan back in 97, or if you like a little more retro type stuff, you'll be very excited about this coming out.
Yeah, you can catch up on all the old episodes. They are going to be on Disney+. I'm not sure if they're there yet or if that's all coming out at the same time. You'll have to go check that out. There are a couple other animated projects on this list. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is coming out sometime this year, and that's an animated.
I just feel like Spider-Man has been done so many times. It's hard to be excited at all about another Spider-Man, even if it is a little different.
It's truly a cash cow for these studios. Well, besides the new Spider-Man, there are also some Star Wars animated things coming out. The Bad Batch Season 3 and Tales of the Jedi are animated Star Wars things. Beyond that, let me just run down this list. Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out July 26th. Agatha, fall of 2024. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is one I already mentioned. Dune 2 is out now. Rings of Power Season 2. That could be a summer release date, although I'm more inclined to think that's going to be a fall release date just because Season 1 also released in the fall. And then that brings us to Star Wars. We've got Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which I heard is going to be something like Stranger Things happening on a spaceship. That will be interesting. The Acolyte, which I'm excited about because that follows the story of a young person who goes to the dark side. So that will be interesting. And then Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, which are both animated. And finally, last on my list is Andor Season 2. Most likely that's going to be a 2025 release, but possibly 2024. We shall see.
Also, they announced a Season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, which I believe is going to be the last season.
Yeah.
So we've just actually started it because it's not one that we've been watching in the past. So far, it's been pretty good.
It's been fun. I like the format. That was kind of controversial back in the day, but it's fun. And
it's already had, we're only a couple of episodes in, but it's already had some of the classic cheesy Star Trek stuff. But it's had some really good storylines as well.
I agree. Let us know in the comments what you're excited for. I'm sure we haven't hit everything. There are probably some things we missed. Let me throw one more thing out there that definitely won't be coming out in 2024 or probably 2025, but there have been some quotes from director James Cameron that Alita Battle Angel Part 2 is going to happen, and I am really excited because I loved that movie. So let me know in the comments if you're as excited for Alita as I am. I used the word gumption the other day, and this guy who's much older than me came up to me and said, I haven't heard the word gumption in like 20 years. And I was like, I'm bringing it back, brother. Well, I scoured the internet and came up with some of the best hero and villain pairings ever. First on my list, Peter Pan and Captain Hook.
That was ranked one of the best?
It was by MovieWeb.com.
Interesting. I mean, it's solidly a good one. It's been around a long time. Peter Pan is a really old story. Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty is another, probably one of the reasons why these are ranked high is because just how the length of them, the length of the storyline, and they're still popular today. Mm-hmm. That one's very classic. I really like Sherlock Holmes, though, so I have a special place in my heart for that hero and villain.
So these days, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. That's how I do my reading. You've actually read, out of a physical book, all the Sherlock Holmes stories.
Or at least the majority of them. A long time ago, I got like this really big Sherlock, like the complete set of Sherlock Holmes stories or something like that. And I actually read through the whole thing. It took quite a while, but I read through the whole thing.
So I listened to a book. It was Mark Twain's short stories. And in this random short story, Sherlock Holmes shows up. And I was like, isn't that like a copyright infringement? Because, I mean, he was writing like 100 years ago, not, in the vicinity of when Sherlock Holmes was written.
Interesting.
I even looked it up. I couldn't really find anything about why he was able to do that, or if he just kind of did it, and back then, I don't know. It's called The Double-Barreled Detective. So if you want to check out a Mark Twain story with Sherlock Holmes in it, check it out. Neo and Agent Smith from The Matrix. Mr. Anderson. That's the famous line. Their story was cool because Neo was trying to go deeper into the Matrix to figure out what was all going on with it, and Agent Smith was trying to escape the Matrix into the physical world. Another super classic one is Batman and the Joker. I remember back in the day when there was the Batman movie featuring Michael Keaton as Batman and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And I can still remember, I'm closing my eyes, we're standing outside Cinema 8 in Duluth, Minnesota. Do you remember Cinema 8?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was a kind of small movie theater. And we had to wait outside because the line was so long. And I had like a homemade Batman shirt. And it was awesome.
Totally worth it?
Totally worth it. That movie still holds up. I mean, it's definitely different than modern movies with the special effects and things that we have now, but it's still a fun movie to watch.
You know what else really holds up with the test of time is Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah.
They've definitely held up. Not quite as long as Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty, but still has definitely stood the test of time.
That has so many classic elements. The jet black evil lord and the young up-and-coming hero. That's kind of a thing.
It also has that classic kind of story of redemption, too, though, at the end, that can be such a life-giving story.
That's one of the reasons why that original trilogy is so great, because it is so uplifting at the end. So those were from MovieWeb.com. And then I found another list on Screen Rant, and there was one more hero-villain matchup that I just had to include in this list.
Screen Rant?
Yeah, ScreenRant.com.
Now I kind of want to just go check out that website.
Jim and Dwight from The Office.
They literally said those are heroes and villains?
Well, that's a stretch, but,
I think it's a bit of a stretch.
It kind of fits. I can see it.
I mean, there's conflict there. Is it just that we like Jim better, though? Or is Dwight really actually a villain?
I don't
know.
Dwight was a villain. He's evil. They even had an evil castle, which was Michael's office.
Dwight as like a character in the Star Wars Discovery is totally evil. That is a villain.
Yes, and
but
that was
not Dwight. Obviously, he was a
different character, and that was a completely pleasant surprise. Like Katie mentioned, we are just starting Star Trek Discovery, and there's Dwight.
Out pops Dwight. I'm like, wait a second. That's Dwight.
And that's what he's one of those actors where he can be in lots of things, and I always just think, oh, that's Dwight.
Yes, I think he will always be Dwight.
I know he has a name of his own.
And I don't know if I could take him seriously in like a really serious, like drama type role. It'd be really hard. Because even in the Star Trek, he was kind of a goofy-ish type hero.
His name
very
is
nefarious. But
I'm remembering
still.
his name. His name is Rain.
I'm going to argue that Jim and Dwight are not actually villain and hero. Hero and villain. I think we just all like Jim better. For good reason. His personality is much more pleasant and funny.
Or is Jim the villain because he did put Dwight Stapler in Jell-O?
I think it's going to be a matter of opinion.
Well, if you're out there, maybe you've had someone like Dwight or Jim in your life, and it's caused you adversity, or maybe some other situation that brings stress or unpleasantness into your life. And that happens to all of us. And I think one of the lessons that we take from the science fiction fantasy world is that when you go through adversity and you persevere, as cliche as this sounds, it can make you a better person if you allow it to. Would you agree with that?
I think it really depends on how you look at it. If you kind of look at it and say, I have a responsibility to rise up and help rectify this wrong or help people during this time of adversity, I think that it could definitely help you grow as a person. If it's just a personal adversity just with you, it can definitely help you grow with patience and understanding and compassion. When we deal with difficult situations ourselves, it really helps us have compassion on other people dealing with situations.
Yeah, at the top of the show, we mentioned, does the hero come first or the villain? And often it's the villain that creates the hero because that adversity comes and somebody rises to the challenge or takes responsibility, like you said. And in life, I think it does have a lot to do with how we, like you said, how we approach it. If you can either go the cynical route and feel like a victim, or you can choose to go the I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna become stronger. I'm gonna learn to be more appreciative of the good things in my life because I've seen this ugly side of life. So it really, there is a lot of choice, I think.
There's a lot of choice, and it's not always linear. Sometimes when you're going through adversity, when you're dealing with difficult situations, I think that sometimes we'll lose faith or we'll lose heart or we'll have pity parties when we're dealing with adversity. But we do have to just rally ourselves and continue going in the direction of hope and peace and light. As difficult as that is when we're facing darkness of any kind, whether it's an actual villain person or just a difficult situation that you're facing.
And a scripture that comes to mind when we talk about this kind of stuff is Mark 16:33. Jesus said, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world.
And from a Christian perspective, that is such a life-giving place to be able to put your trust in someone greater than you.
It's very validating when you're troubled to say, yeah, but Scripture says there is trouble in this world. And then afterwards, you can see, but through that, I became more compassionate, more loving, more patient, gained some endurance, gained some backbone maybe, gained some grit, and that's good. We've had a lot of fun talking about heroes and villains, and we have been concocting some ideas for future series on the show. And we just want to drop a little fun tidbit that coming up, our next series is going to involve a special, super secret guest co-host.
Yeah, it'd be exciting, so stay tuned for that.
All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the show. Until next time, love you, take care, God bless, bye-bye.